Sorry.
Yeah, what not?
The videos are really missing.
I guess it means we're starting.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to the Double Fine Adventure. We are mainly from Double Fine. I'm Chris Remo. That is Greg Rice. That is obviously Tim Schaefer. And this is Paul Levering of Two Player Productions, who make the amazing documentary about our game. So we are going to show some footage from these guys, and that's going to be about half an hour, and then we're going to take questions, and also information will be revealed today during this panel.
Information.
I know.
Can I ask first if anyone had any backers in the audience today? Thank you, all the backers. You guys, anyone not a backer? You don't have to raise your hand.
Sorry.
Just please keep your eyes closed during the video and plug your ears. Thank you.
Hey, Paul, what are we watching, do you know? This is highlights reel, sort of catching people up, and then we're doing some new stuff.
So this will be the next episode.
A little bit of the next episode, yeah.
Has anyone not watched the documentary at all? Yeah? No, that's fine. I'd like to think that this is new. Some people are saving it to the end to watch it all unless they're lost.
Yeah.
It's really best that way. Results won't fly. You don't often answer every question every episode, just like lost.
We have audio, so let's go. Probably go a little louder. Your end.
Sounds like you're just talking to yourself. Could go a little louder. Click, 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 click. I'll keep going.
That's awesome from 2 player also hiding in the back of the camera. Look at them hiding.
Is it possible to bring lights in here? Can we do that? Dim the lights? No, you guys?
Say, can we dim the lights because he's really hungover after the meet and greet last night? I want to apologize for anyone I punched or.
Let's do this.
Work. I did work. This is the spec for the whole spaceship. Designed all puzzles for the spaceship. Yeah, all puzzles for the spaceship. And this is just 2/3 of the puzzle for the girls' world. But there's still, there's still a lot to start to design. Well, it's like I have plot points, you know? I have things where I know like that to end Act 1, and then that ends Act 2, and then I have these plot points that happen. And then to get to that plot point, you have to create obstacles and puzzles at the same time, which come out of the story. Okay, break out a routine. The spaceship boy has this routine that he's stuck in every day in space, and he has to break out of it. That's the first puzzle. You do work backwards, like you know. It's like you actually aren't designing puzzles, you're designing the obstacles in a lot of ways. Like you say, you had a situation in a game with a character, you just know there's a plot point where they have to shoot the president. And so, I don't have any plans to shoot the president. So anyway, the president's really bad. So you gotta shoot the president. You work backwards to some cool wish fulfillment, like, okay, he's sneaking into the White House. How would you sneak into the White House? You could wear a mask that made you look like a visiting ambassador. Like, how do you make a plaster cast of his face to make the mask? And maybe you have to trick him into tripping and falling in cement. And then at each point you think, okay, was that actual revelation? Like, you don't want to have it just be a series of tedious chores. It's got to be like, oh, I had a really clear problem that I need to solve. The 3 most obvious ways to solve it don't work. And the game anticipates that. And like, has a great response for when you try to execute that solution. You put a little like, aha, good try, you know, but did you think about this? And that little nudge is like, oh, you know, kind of like, doesn't give you the answer, but kind of points you back towards the ballpark of where the answer is. This is the first puzzle. So the puzzle is that you open this a little bit, and then you try to go to it, it closes. And then there's some really counterintuitive, almost opposite of normal way of thinking that makes you realize, if I did this really weird thing, that would actually work. The thing you have to do with the lock is take the lock and actually lock the gate shut. So now, when you try to pull the chain, it can't pull the gate up, and instead, because then the player's like, I'm so smart.
I'm not sure how we're going to handle the tentacles because we talked about maybe doing them purely as flipbook animation because we can't have enough joints in this engine to like animate them all freely.
Is that a special close-up monster? Different than
We don't do any special close-up. We do one version for everything unless we have to do it because it's just a lot more work.
maybe not the joint everything that you don't want to joint. Or is it the painting of the details, or is it the mouth shapes and all that stuff?
Still working on like our first playable puzzle from the actual game. We kind of bit off a big one, so that's happening now.
So, you know, when I was creating lists and I've been working with Lee on schedule, and it's going to get hairy, I think.
I think it was because really when I first started, it was going to be like $300,000, and we were going to just try to do some retro Day of the Tentacle shit, you know. And I know things changed so much from the beginning of this Kickstarter thing, you know, and I know now it's this huge, it's a big thing.
As much as I would like to talk about how we can't make this awesome game in time.
I thought I was coming up with ways that we could.
Yeah. I know. Okay, let's dig out here. Let's dig out. I'm gonna check out the inventory stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye. I mean, yeah, since we're doing a game that's like a different engine type than we've ever done before. It's like 2D, a whole different engine, new devices we've never worked on, and an adventure game, which we've never made a straight adventure game here at this company. So we're doing so many new things with this project that we're just learning. Every time we try to do something, we find out that that's not going to work. We do have to course correct and try different solutions. So, but I think that's totally normal.
Fuck my wall.
Before we start, I'm going to guess that, like, our goal is to finish Cloud Colony, the sprint. I have a feeling it's not finished.
You might be right.
Oh man, I mean, we have like another 2-week sprint. That'd be great if we could finish Cloud Colony in that. I don't want to just keep setting up the team to fail that. I'm like, hey, you guys are going to finish Cloud Colony in the sprint. Okay, I didn't do it. Okay, this sprint we're definitely going to finish. Okay, no, that didn't work either. Okay, this sprint is the one. So I don't want to say that, but there's still a lot to do. I mean, you can't right now play the 3 puzzle branches, any of them, to the end.
So, yeah, I'm trying to figure out now what we'll be looking at.
Yeah.
So,
So we don't know what's going to happen because even if the sprint had finished, if we'd finished Cloud Colony, we'd be looking at like looking at the design of the game and how much time we have, that we would not probably finish the game in April as we had previously thought. Unless you still think you were going to finish in April, but we've done some math that means.
I did some equations.
And if we go past April, that would mean going past our money that we got from Kickstarter, which would be not great to do. We're having discussions with Issa and Justin about how we want to deal with that. So I don't think we're going to conclude any of that in this meeting, but that's the problem we're working on outside of this too. So let's see how much we dig in.
Read the button that says 1
Yeah, so I have 2 files on Google Drive. One is budget, one is schedule. The original schedule that we made was like an attempt to get as many people on the team as we can and try to include like all of the things outside of headcount that we need to pay for, and then like fit a game into that time, essentially, right? And like as we were progressing, like it was obvious that we weren't tracking anything that was going to fit in that time. So now the hope is to try to start from scratch with a new schedule, taking into account like what we've seen with Cloud Colony and how long it's taken us to do that, how many other additional screens and areas are left in the game as it's currently spec'd, and try to take a new stab based on what we know now at how long we think it'll actually take to make the game that you are designing.
So the new budget, or this scenario, includes going all the way to September and the increased team size. Which the increased team size is, like 4 or 5 people.
And has like $1.1 million more cost.
Yes, but the thing about this schedule is that it assumes at a certain point that systems work gets done and that the team gains efficiency and the number of scenes almost doubles at a certain point in the project in order to get it done. So it's actually pretty aggressive.
Then I need to find money.
Yeah, that is the concern.
Okay. Like, because right now, it looks like the plane's kind of diving down a little bit, and we have time to pull up. And
What does the plane diving down stand for?
that's
crashing.
Yeah.
The whole company crashing into the ground.
So, I mean, the thing is that Reds, this project is going to determine the studio's success going forward. It's a major portion of my forecast of the health of the studio. It hitting next year is absolutely necessary, and how successful it is once it is out there and is live, determines our ability to be independent and kind of have our own creative control, like that we're enjoying now. So
It just seemed wrong to make it cost more than we got, because we were so lucky to get the money that we got. Doesn't it feel like it's moral for me to finish it for that amount of money or less? And I'm sure our business guy would love for us to finish for less. But the game also has to be really good, and it is an important game for the studio. And strategically, it's an important game for us because we own it. We don't have to share the money with any sort of other party, investor or publisher. It's all ours, so it makes sense for us to make it a really good game.
we have to deliver on the vision, and I don't think it's going to be done in the budget. So we have to find more money. And I feel like not only does it need to deliver on what the community is hoping it is and the people that actually backed it, but the whole community in general and the crowdfunding that's actually occurred since then, we're the poster child, and we're the poster child, succeed or fail. And so, we'd like to see more games funded this way.
Well, I think that it's also just important to keep in mind that there's like other impacts besides just funding the game, and that like if we now go get a publisher for this game, then it suddenly like voids everything we said about the project and everything we're trying to do. It's hard, and I know like we're looking at a number that's large that we're saying we need, but like as much as possible, just trying to make sure that it's as good of money as this money was.
I think there are financial realities that we have to be conscious of, but I mean the reality is that it needs to be a double-fine game, and the quality, and it has to deliver on Tim's vision, and so it comes back to what would be like the minimum scope of the game that you would feel it still delivers on how you envisioned it.
I mean, every time we've been up against this kind of situation, which is almost every time, there's scope, and then there's money, and then there's efficiencies, and And I've never seen solved any other way than all of the above.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some scope reduction, some efficiency improvements, and some extra money.
Yeah.
Not like any one of those things being the answer.
Okay. Okay.
We get
Yeah. Good. Should we do like a all hands in team? Okay. All right, guys.
Okay.
The juice fast is all part of, you know, New Year's comes around, you make a bunch of resolutions, and it's, my resolution was not to die before my daughter even got to college. And also watching this documentary and seeing my gut enter the room like 5 minutes before I did. So now I look all shrunken and my face and neck's all wiggly, so you just can't win. You just can't win, they got a gallstone problem. So, just lose-lose scenario documentaries. Does anyone else want juice? Yeah, I used to get a lot more sleepy in the afternoon, and I don't know if that's coffee or if that's just being super fat. And pack up some juice to take with me. Cheers. How much weight did I lose while I was drinking that? Did you see like shrinkage? Like, according to the internet, I'm like 1/3 of that. One site said my 60 pounds. And I started this at 260. So I'm down 30 pounds. Touching it off my beard. Every girl's life when she needs them out of shape. Here we go. Here we go. I'm not gonna do it. I used to just grow a beard every Christmas, like a Christmas beard, and start around Thanksgiving. Ray got me started on that, and then one year I grew the Christmas beard, and I gained so much weight while I had it on that when I went to shave it off, I was like, holy crap, where's all this hiding? And I was like, I'm gonna grow it back. Because you actually believe that if you grow a beard, you can like, hide the fact that you're fat. No one will figure it out. I didn't need to look at people with beards when I said that. Now, that weight again, I'll shave it off, so I shaved it off. Trying to respect in the meeting. I think here's a new design you guys. Okay. This is my look from the 90s. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way, guys. The car is just a metaphor for my body. They're both essentially really good looking. They've been, neglected a little bit over the years. It's got some scratches. There's a big knife hole in the top of it. It's a little rusty. It doesn't start in the morning. It's full of gas. Etc., etc. And my car is something that I've been just looking at, and I should really take care of that eventually. Kind of like, oh, I should lose this weight eventually. So I tweeted anyone know a good mechanic? And of course John Romero and Brenda Romero are like, we have this guy who's perfect for a Mopar, which is what my Barracuda is. And I went down there, and John showed up. And of course I'm all excited about getting my car fixed. And then John pulls up in this amazing, pretty much brand new Roadrunner at 68. All shiny. The engine is cleaner than anything in my house. It's beautiful. And my car's sitting there all sad. Which brings about a whole bunch of different issues for me. Why am I rich like John Romero? Next year, I'll get on that. This year, I'm just going to get the car fixed. And I started feeling the money flow out of my body as the guy was talking about all the work he wanted to do on it. So I need this game to be a hit to get out of the debt I'm going to accrue by getting the car running. then John took me for the most terrifying drive of my life. Just in the car, it hit the gas, and it felt like a sledgehammer was punched in the back of my neck, just snapped back. Ah! And then John's driving, and I'm sure John is a really good driver, but I'm not 100% sure. I was gonna die. Thanks for the ride, John. Alright. I don't need authority anymore. Just look at me, you'll get used to it. Shave the beard, I wanna die, fix the car, get my writing done. It's just a new, all new me. For a couple months. Reds, I don't know if you were following our forums, but we actually let our backers participate in talking about the different name possibilities for Reds, and we actually polled both the team and the backers, and the winner of both polls was Broken Age as the name of the game. So we're not, yeah, secret until Sunday during the PAX panel. What's a new game called? It's gotta feel good when you say it. It's Broken Age. Good job, Two Player Productions.
Yeah.
Broken Age.
Yeah. So that URL was a lie. It doesn't exist right now. However,
Who's in charge of getting that ready?
well,
He's like doing it right now. Are you doing it live?
yeah, we can watch that website live right now.
Someone squatted on it in the audience right now.
Before I launch that website, Tim, I have one question for you before the people start asking questions. If you had to summarize this game in about 2 paragraphs, let's say for the about text on a website, how would you do that? Speak at a reasonable pace.
I ignored that email this morning for a reason.
Yeah. Can I get your video output?
Broken Age. The name, I think with names, I think you have to say it 1,000 times before it sounds normal.
Wait, is this what you want? Put on our website?
Yeah, there's gonna sit here and we're gonna say Broken Age 1,000 times. Broken Age, Broken Age, Broken Age. Broken Age is a game. I'm sorry, I'm retyping fast. Broken Age is a game where you're putting your
Why is it weird? Why is it a weird thing on the internet?
You can change this later. We're just
In case you haven't seen documentary, Broken Age is a point-click adventure telling 2 parallel stories of a young boy and a girl who are leading kind of parallel lives. They're both choosing to break with tradition and alter their lives at a time when I can't write this live. Thank you. The girl in the story has been chosen by her village to be sacrificed to a horrible monster who comes to destroy their town, and she decides to maybe we could actually fight this monster, and instead of being eaten horribly. And the boy on the spaceship is living all by himself in space, being taken care of by this very motherly computer. The ship itself is taking care of him. He's wanted to break out of the routine that he's been stuck in and actually go on actual adventures and do actual good in the world, and so he has to take control of this ship, and then adventures ensue. I'm going to write much better.
That's a lot of text for a website.
Yeah.
Are you actually typing it right now?
Yeah.
It's
I don't know if it all came through quite.
it's hard to write something shorter.
Yeah, I know.
I'll write on my phone while you guys are talking.
All right, so I think we're gonna take Q&A, right? So is there like a mic or something we can throw up at the front, let people line up, and is anyone here actually from PAX? Like maybe not. Okay, maybe in the aisles we'll just start moving a line, and here we go. All right, someone have a question?
This is for Tim.
I'm going to make you a vine again.
I'll try to keep it short because I don't want to hold up people's time.
Oh, we got all day.
So there's I'm a really big fan of, I'm really looking forward to Broken Age, but I also am a really big fan of...
hey, thanks for using the name.
And your, but I'm a very big fan of your back catalog, and I understand that a lot of it is probably tied up with Disney right now. But do you know if there's, in the vaguest terms, any possibility that that would be released in more of a stable format, since a lot of the stuff is now hard to play?
Yeah, that is a really good question. I think that it does it's kind of weird once in a while when I watch a lot of Disney movies with my daughter. She loves all the princess movies and all the Pixar movies, and watching them knowing that the same company owns Grim Fandango is weird. But I don't laugh at that. That's weird. But the answer is really I don't know. But it's something ever since I left Lucas, we've been kind of trying to get the rights back to those games. But they always said no. We're really no, because we need to have all of them. We need to have everything. But we'll keep trying. And so never say never is what I have to say.
And one more shorter question. Back in maybe 4 years ago, you did a very short adventure game, the Conquest for Humor, which I really, really liked enough that I would have paid money for it if there were a lot of other smaller, very simple adventure games like that. And I just would like to say that that was really great. It would be nice if there were one of those too, if those are not incredibly hard to produce.
It wasn't hard for me. Go ahead. What was it? There might be another one on Tuesday.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
More information. The spiritual successor is slightly different, but it's being made by Myas, our great German major.
This is Jennifer. Last summer, a group of friends and I, we were holding a week-long Pokemon marathon for our charity. You donated, a member of our, we're called The Speed Gamers.
Oh yeah, I thought we were looking up how much I donated. I was like, you donated $3.
Every little bit counts. Our artist had this to say, and Tim Schafer tweeted about us. That's so amazing. As someone who loved Grim Fandango and bought Brutal Legend, despite not having a console for it, just to support Double Fine, I was so happy to hear that he mentioned us. Mr. Schafer, if you're out there, I supported your Kickstarter project, and I can't wait for the game to come out. And then if I could ask you a question, I'm shaking, not that.
And first of all, I am out here.
What charities do you heavily support anything? What interests you as far as charity and such?
I mean, different ones come up. We of course do a lot of, we're often involved with things for child's play. We did, I hosted the which is like a rock band concert in San Francisco, and that was with child's play. And we've also done, things have come up when there's like tsunami relief. There's, we donate things to those raffles and stuff. And there's an event called Night to Unite with the whole games industry. Does a big fundraiser for a different charity for kids. So those things, they come up, and we'd like to be involved when we can.
Well, we did the Humble Bundle too, which gives to...
where people can choose how much to do. Yeah, those are awesome. They're like $1 million or something for charity.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
So I can say you did donate.
So I'm Mr. Schafer. My fiance and I loved Costume Quest to death. Did end up on a bit of a cliffhanger though, so assuming that Broken Age is the smashing success that we all know it's going to be, is there any prayer of a sequel?
There's always a hope for a sequel. Costume Quest is one of those games I would love to do. I wish there was new stuff for it every Halloween. I always think it'd be great to just do more for it. And we're going to have more opportunities to do that as we actually make our own money now. Yeah. So yes, prayer, chance, yes, of course.
Thank you.
So I know that you guys have talked very positively about the whole crowdfunding opportunity, but more recently there's been a little bit of backlash and people sort of speculating that with these big name projects, if you're a project in the Veronica Mars project, that maybe it's a double-edged sword, and that publishers now might expect people to sort of bring their own fans and funds to the table ahead of the game. And I was wondering if you, like with your industry experience, if you think that that's a really legitimate concern, or if that's, kind of always been a pain in the ass.
Well, publishers do also, I've always expected us to bring our own money in a way. Like they wouldn't come, if we give you a whole pitch, and they're like, we love this game, yeah, we want to publish it. And they're like, wait, you don't want us, the publisher says like, wait, you want money from us to make this game? And then we have to ask them for money. So, I don't think it'll really, let's see, I think it'll really change.
I mean, it's hard to say because it's early days, right? I think that it's going to take a while for these things to work out. I mean, there hasn't been a ton of games that have actually released yet from the bigger Kickstarters. So I think we'll see how they do, and hopefully it'll just be something that kind of works itself out and continues to grow and get bigger over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I think publishers are definitely interested in it. They're paying attention to the phenomenon, and they know on the one hand, I've heard them talk, I've heard people internal to publishers say that the discussions have been like, these indie games don't really need us anymore, so we have to figure out different ways to be appealing to them, like through our distribution or something like that, so we actually have something to add, which is great that they're actually figuring out how to actually contribute something to the process. There have been instances I've heard where publishers will be like, that's a great game, you should totally kickstart that, and then come to us and we'll publish it. And they'll pretend they're not involved so that the Kickstarter looks more legitimate, but it's all in the background, we're kind of looking in the background. So I think some of those things will definitely happen. But overall, it's an amazing thing, and it's like, I'm really glad that it happened. So I have to do more with it in the future. So.
Thank you.
On the background, I loved watching the documentary episodes featuring the concept artists that you guys brought in to work on Broken Age. Is there anything else you can talk about that with working with Nate Bagel and Scott C and stuff like that?
You want to talk about working with them?
Well, yeah, like what's interesting is I see you guys have a Skype a lot. I can't even imagine how difficult that would be with an artist just Skyping all day. Is that why you brought it out, or?
Yeah, we wanted to work with Bagel, and he lives in New York, and we mostly, Google Hangouts, and we bring him to San Francisco whenever we can. And it is challenging to have him remote, and I think he feels lonely. So we try and make him feel, like sure that he's part of it. Other people like Scott Campbell and Peter Chan only worked on that one period when we were doing kind of an art jam and Scott designed a bunch of characters for the game. I mean, ideally, it'd be better to have those guys in the office. And they used to, Nathan used to work in the office before he moved to New York. So we just want to keep working with them.
Is that kind of an art jam of most games, or is that just something you think is
That's
more?
how I like to start production. Just because you're alone with your ideas for a long time, they're just in your head, and then you bring a bunch of really creative people together, and they draw with stuff, and all of a sudden it's much easier to see, how this is really going to happen. And artists generally like to hang out with each other and draw in the back room. That's really fun. And they're fun to hang out with, so. All right, thanks. Motorhead.
I've not really got a question, but...
Well, hang out.
I'd just like to thank you. Your games are fantastic and got me interested in the games industry, and I'm now studying games development because of your games, basically. So, thank you.
Hey, well, first I want to say good job on the weight loss. That was something that I also did last year, so awesome. I just wanted to ask, so you talked a little bit earlier on the video about when you design puzzles going from kind of the eventual goal and working out how you get there. Do you also think about what the character knows in that moment, or kind of how they would approach the problem with their personality or given the different constraints on what they know about it?
I mean, I definitely think the solution to a puzzle has to express the character who's doing it, because if you're doing a game by James Bond and he ends up like, you know, I don't want to pick on that Gabriel Knight puzzle that will skewered on this webpage, but you know, if you have James Bond taping, you know, trying to get cat hair with a piece of tape and make a fake idea, it's like, it doesn't seem like James Bond would do that. You know what I mean? So you just can't. And that James Bond was not in that game, so it's not a fair comparison. But you know, it came up a lot when we were doing Full Throttle, because like Full Throttle, Ben cannot, you know, there's a locked door. Like Bernard Bernoulli would have figured out some way of like sliding stuff. If you had a ham and cheese sandwich, and that's the only tool you had to open the door with, I was like, okay, you could slide the mayonnaise on the floor and slide the bread under the door, and then you would use the toothpick to help it, you know, through the keyhole and pull the key out and then slide it back. And where Ben Throttle would just eat the sandwich and kick the door down. So you have to think about that stuff for a while. Sure.
Thanks. Also, Wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that Chris is done with the quick, tell me ask Chris questions, or Paul about the documentary, or Greg about production, because production is pretty sexy. Yeah, production.
Howdy. As a big fan of yours, I really like to hear what people I'm a big fan of are a big fan of. So is there anything you've seen, like read, or you know, anything lately that you just think everyone in the room should go home, you know, check out?
Should go home and check out. I'm just trying to think about what I'm playing these days. I've been playing a lot of Nino Kuni, because I'm a big I'm a big Studio Ghibli fan, and a lot of people in our office are. And what else am I playing? I'm playing on the train every morning, playing When He Goes Fishing, which is and oh, nice hat. When He Goes Fishing. Let's see. I'm trying to think about it. You know, after having kids, it's really hard to see movies. So, like, what was the last movie that I saw that I really liked? I like Moonrise Kingdom. What else? What else? Paul's been really trying to get into Speed Racer.
You like juice?
What?
Juice. You like juice?
Oh, I'm a fan of juice. Well,
any good mixtures you recommend?
Good what?
Good like smoothies you can recommend?
Smoothies. Yeah, we'll talk about juice recipes after. Yeah. But that's off the top of my head. The first thing.
Thanks very much. I was trying to pre-order in line, but I couldn't remember my credit card number. Okay. Sorry. Thanks a lot. 4, 1.
Thank you.
On that note, the website is actually live now at brokenagegame.com. And there's I don't know if you're back, so you don't need that. But it's there. And Tim's ramblings is in here as well.
I would just like to thank you for Brutal Legend. I was never really into metal at all before Brutal Legend, so you kind of opened up that entire genre for me.
Do you do it now?
Yes.
Mission accomplished.
Mostly the Brutal Legend soundtrack, because that's just a phenomenal setup. Both the orchestrated and the rights.
Awesome. Thanks. The licensed music, yes.
Yes, and I've recently repurchased it on Steam. Love the PC version.
Oh, thanks.
What are the odds of picking up on that cliffhanger as well?
Well, it's definitely there. We have material for it. You know, I cut a lot of that game. I cut the game basically in half to get it done, and there's a whole rest of that story and characters and stuff that can happen after that. That would be a pretty big expensive thing to make in Kickstarter, for example. But I also thought there's no way we'd ever get $3 million before. So I've been wrong about Kickstarter before. Right, yeah. So who knows? Who knows? I'd love to do that someday. Probably not this year. Thanks for playing.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you for Psychonauts. I played Peak Circus.
Oh my gosh, well, I'll give you some tips after this.
I did.
Oh, you did finish Mean Circus?
Yes.
Oh, good job, congratulations.
I was thinking about that Disney thing earlier, and it would be great if they would bring back the old games, because, yeah.
It would be, well, I don't want them to do it without me. That would be weird.
I don't think anyone from that company was even able to show up, so.
From Disney?
Yeah, but if you were to meet someone from Disney, would you please give them this?
What is that? Can I look at this?
I printed out every single signature of this petition. Yes.
Wait, what is this a petition for? Am I holding an illegal? Am I committing a crime? It's what?
Read the first page. Yeah, that's that one.
There's a picture of Sam and Max in here.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the petition to bring back Sam and Max? Or
yeah.
Telltale made a lot of games after that. The decision to cancel Sam and Max, I feel like in some ways led to the formation of Telltale. Because that team left and started that company. So
there are still people who want that game.
Oh, the original sequel. I think I would too, as long as the original team was involved. But sorry.
What? I think there are at least 30,000.
Yeah, you might want to hold on. I don't know if I'll see anyone from Disney soon, but if I do, I'll definitely give them that petition.
And tell them that they are currently employing the creator of that series at Pixar, so they might want to give that. They might want to give Steve the rights to that game for president.
Steve Purcell still owns Sam Max, so
yeah.
Disney does not own that. But maybe they could make games without us. They did a good job with that Long Island movie with Johnny Depp in it. So. Thanks. Awesome. You sure you don't want this?
I'm sure.
Feel okay.
Sorry. We could pay our budget, make another one.
I said that same thing myself.
Hey, Tim.
Hi.
Thanks for doing the panel. Please pardon my nerves. So, one of the things I was thinking of was, so the Kickstarter was a huge success. You drew in all these, adventure game fans. And I'm just wondering, what's the kind of feel for the market for adventure games? Like, did we pull in all the fans, or are there more fans out there who haven't been tapped yet and they're just waiting for the game to be released?
I'm hopeful because I always thought adventure games appealed to people who weren't currently playing games. Back in the 90s, it was like people would talk about their spouses and stuff. It was the first game they ever played with me, and I always thought there were always people out there who were not playing games right now at all and who not consider those games who really like adventure games because they're about story and characters and things that a lot of games weren't at the time. And but none of those people had computers back then. Like a lot of people just didn't. Not everyone had a computer back then. Now everyone has some sort of device, a tablet, or everyone has an iPad, and we're going to be on all those platforms, so we're going to be able to get you a lot of these people for the first time ever. And so it is kind of another second run at like making these things successful. So that's why I feel like it's important to make this game really good.
Yeah, and I mean the backers also had to take a leap of faith, and we didn't even have an idea for the game yet, and they were just going purely off Tim's record. So now that we actually have the game and the name, and people can know what it is, hopefully that'll get them to.
Obviously, now you have a fantastic name. People are just going to draw it and a website and just force people to buy it. You guys got to ask the guys these questions because they're texting over here. They're texting. They ask this question to this table.
And so there must be some marketing budget from the Kickstarter money and like the whole PR thing or whatever the correct degree.
Definitely made a special place in the budget for that money.
Awesome.
And then spent it on the car.
Thanks for answering my question.
Thank you.
Hi, Tim.
Hi.
How's it going? So I wanted to, first of all, thank you for the awesome high five yesterday. And
also, high five in hand.
Also, for two things that in my life, first getting into PC gaming because at a young age I saw Dave the Tentacle and games like that really caught my imagination. And then later would also inspire me as an artist, and I would go to college and graduate as an illustrator, really inspired by things like Grim Fandango and games that were that creative. So I wanted to say thank you for basically influencing that part of my life.
Thanks for playing.
Thank you very much.
So I'm probably in the minority that my favorite modern Double Fine game is Trenched.
I don't know why you should be your money.
I had like a 15-minute discussion with one of the guys who worked on it, and he said to trust in the booth and about the salute mechanic, so that was awesome. But my question was, before you made so much money on the Kickstarter, you had smaller plans for the game, and I'm wondering if the game you have now with a higher budget is, I mean, ultimately kind of the same, but with a higher budget, or is it a completely different concept, different story, or like, well, how much of the original ideas are what it is right now?
It's really totally different. I didn't have an idea. Like I started, I was like, I'm going to put off coming up with this idea because I want to do it when we start actually making documentaries so we can actually document the whole process. So the documentary starts with me all by myself with my notebook, scribbling ideas in it. So you really can see, I guess, where the ideas come from. So before that, the only work we'd done as soon as we got the idea to make an adventure game was Nathan Sablu's just drawing a bunch of pictures, and so his original picture of like the lumberjack probably predates the game itself, but there was no actual game design ideas before we actually started documenting it in production.
Thank you.
But it's much bigger. It probably would have been something, I don't know what it would have been for the original budget. It would have been really small, similar to I think Hostmaster and the Conquest of Humor, like they are talking about like on our webpage, like more like a Flash game. Free-ish. Yeah.
So before you started Kickstarter, you had like no idea what you were going to make. You were just like, I'm going to make a video game. Let's get on Kickstarter.
So we knew it was going to be an adventure game, but that's all we did.
Thank you.
Hello. First, just want to say thanks, Tim, for conversation, all that meeting on Friday. That was great. I also want to say thanks to everyone at Double Fine and Two Player Productions for all the work you're doing and all the work you've done. So it's all fantastic. So I think I guess all of you can answer this. Just off the top of my head, what kind of games, what games in the past have been your favorites or most inspirational? Just have really kind of moved you to where you are today.
I'll go. Well, actually, this is weird, but Grim Fandango was one of mine. Also, more recently, things like Half-Life 2 and even worse, Elite Journey was a big one for me. That game was amazing. I played like 8 times. So, if you like that.
Are we going into the mind? Okay. Yeah, I'm very old, so like a lot of my, I still remember, I think the first time I brought home the Adventure cartridge for the Atari 2600, it was a huge thing. I was so excited about playing it. I didn't even read the instructions, so I just started playing. I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm a square, and there's an arrow, and this big duck is coming after me. But that had a big impact on me. I played a lot of text adventures back then, Scott Adams' text adventures of Savage Island, and the Infocom, Zork, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy meant a lot to me. And then later on got into in console games like I loved Herzog 5. Herzog 5 was a big influence on what Brutal Legend stage battles were all about. And then the first time I played, I think Mario 64 was when I was like, I really want to make also console games too, and like I love the way that world that had a big influence on the games I was making. After that, and then last year Journey was amazing. I played that the first night like 5 times in a row. I loved the ambiance in the field of Fez. I really liked playing that game, and that's what it was.
I can speak for the rest of the 2-player. We basically grew up console gamers, so it was like Castlevania and Legend of Zelda, Mega Man, all those kind of games like that. And it was a while before we even really got to experience the type of games that like Tim was making. But I remember seeing Day of the Tentacle for the first time, like running on PC, and I couldn't wrap my mind around that there was this cartoon that you could play. And like that, just like compared to the console experience, which was great in its own way, but like the stuff that adventure games were doing back then, just like it was a completely different world, a totally different experience. And after all that time, when we finally got to work with Double Fine, it was just pretty cool, to just be able to revisit that concept. So
at first.
Then the reality.
That's the way it really works there.
Yeah, I didn't have consoles growing up, so I was all PC as a kid. So I think the first game I played a lot of was just in my elementary school library. They had an Apple II with SimCity on it, and I loved that game. I played so much of it. And I got the original Civilization on 17 floppy disks. And for just probably, that game is probably still, I probably played it for almost more hours than any other game in my life, the original Civ 1. And then when we got our first computer at home, we got Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, I remember. And so that was, I thought that game was amazing, and so then I started finding other games by the same company that made it, LucasArts. And so I played the Monkey Island 1 and 2, I played 7 Max, I played Maniac Mansion, I played Day of the Tentacle, and then Full Throttle and Grim Fandango, and those were, you know, similar to Greg, what he was saying, those were my absolute favorites. I basically did everything LucasArts made out throughout the entire 90s. Probably still my personal favorite game.
You play Yoda Stories?
What's that?
Yoda Stories.
Yoda Stories. Yoda Stories is Indiana Jones. Actually, the way I met Tim, this is weird, was like 10 years ago at GDC when it was in San Jose briefly for a few years. And I was wearing my Full Throttle Corley Motors t-shirt. And I was walking down San Jose Avenue or whatever it was after the GDC Awards. And Tim saw me in my t-shirt and was like, I made that game. And I'm like, you're Tim Schafer. That's how I met Tim, and then he took a picture of us. And now I work for him.
That's how it works. Just a little t-shirt and you're
It's just, that's actually, it's a contract that you don't realize you've signed when you're born. If you encounter Tim Schafer wearing a t-shirt of one of his games, you are actually then legally obligated to toil in his Double Fine.
And we pay exclusively
t-shirts.
There you go.
That's a pretty nice marketing right there. You said it there. The booth's just going to be sold out now.
What's that?
I said the booth's just going to be sold out.
Oh yeah, so if you want a shirt featuring a game from Tim Schafer, please come by the Double Fine booth. Only $15. Sunday discount, yeah.
Awesome, thanks for your question.
It might take 10 years from that point.
Hi, I'm a big fan of all your games, and I just had 2 really quick questions. First, if this is 8 and this is 6, how much is this?
3.
No, it's Monkey Island.
Wait,
The other question was, are you guys, are you in the rest of Double Fine community doing any signing for the rest of PAX? Any
signing? 1 o'clock today, yeah. Am I late tonight?
Where's
that? Yeah, 1 o'clock at the booth, which is in, where all the other booths are. In the place with the booth. We're in a Double Fine Cappy combination booth that's very tall and orange.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. So I just wanted to say that first of all, I got the 3-day pass, but me and my friends were looking at kind of banging out on the 3rd day just exhausted, and I just noticed that you were here today, and I was like, okay, 3rd day's still on.
I know you're exhausted. I understand. Now they made you stand up.
I'm very tired. No, so I'm very tired, but I was like, oh man, we gotta, go to this. So I just want to thank you. To me, you're kind of like a Miyamoto. Tim Schafer's name's on something, I'm gonna buy it. So without just doing hero worship, you've got a great track record with just doing great games. So I want to thank you for not putting out junk. I want to keeping that going. I want to thank you for keeping adventure games going. But I had to come up with, I got to ask you, what the hell happened to Full Throttle 2? So I got Diver Street all day long. I love Monkey Island, but I was so pumped. I was like, another Full Throttle? And then no Full Throttle. And then the second part of that is, I know that Disney's got your old back catalog, but does that also include like the IPs? Like you can't, maybe you can put out, you can't
We
get
can't even talk about it right now. Yeah, they own, Disney now owns this whole panel.
Well, what happened to Full Throttle 2?
What was what?
I didn't say that.
Full Throttle 2, I was not involved in all, and I actually was like secretly out of voodoo doll trying to get that thing canceled in my office. I just died. I'm very controlling about my characters and stuff. And it actually was one of the reasons that I left LucasArts was that that was a big wake-up call to me. Was that because I was working on Grim, and then someone said, "Hey, I was like, what so-and-so working on?" They're like, "Oh, he's they're putting together a Full Throttle 2 thing." And I was like, "What? What? You mean I'm doing it?" No, the people are doing it. And I had to go actually ask. It was like a rumor, and I found out it's true. And I was like, "Wow, I guess that's what happens when someone else owns your IP." And I was like, "No, I'm not going to let anyone own my IP ever again." So I left and started my own company. I've always fought really hard to own IP so we can make sure that if the sequel gets made, it's of the same quality of the first game.
Cool. Thank you very much.
here, please report the shawl on your own ID. Next time you're getting a game made, do it.
Okay, so I just have two quick questions. One of the reasons why I love your games is because while you're playing the entire time, you're laughing so hard. I was playing Psychonauts before I came here. I couldn't stop laughing again. Why is humor so important to you to include to a game, and can we expect the same type of humor with Broken Age?
Thanks for using the name. It's not like I purposely would say in advance, like, humor is important, I'm going to put it in this game on purpose. It's just that it's the kind of people, like, the kind of people we work with, they're all pretty funny, and I think that just kind of comes out of the creative work that they do. But after the fact, I look back on it and I'm like, I'm glad those games were comedies, because for one thing, they stand out. There's not a lot of comedies around, and I think comedy is a really important way to make things accessible to a lot of people, you know? And I should talk for 5 minutes, is that what you're saying? Oh, 5 minutes! Oh, I got a second minute per person, or less. Okay. It's just the way that we do it, but I think it's a great way to just make the games inclusive, and yeah, that's fine. But thanks for playing.
Thank you. Will this game be funny?
Oh yeah, will this be game training? No. Yeah. They always start really serious sounding from the outside. Like the description I gave of it is supposed to sound really serious, but so did Full Throttle and Your Friend Dango, they sound really serious. But when you actually get down to it and write the dialogue, it always comes out. A bunch of jokes come out.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Klein, how's it going? I'm an illustrator. You know, I just wanted to say, first off, thank you for supporting arts and video games and everything, and just Double Fine in general, just for inspiring generations of artists and everything. So, my friend Val, she couldn't be here today. She really would love to meet you and everything. And I was wondering, I do have a question. Would it be cool if I left mine or business card with you?
Yeah. Maybe? Yeah, sure. Okay, now we got 3 minutes.
Alright, cool. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hello. So my question is essentially, Double Fine games are really remarkable to me because they're so clever, and I really appreciate the writing. So my question was, if there's anything that you have to kind of sacrifice in order to create such good writing, especially in the dialogue for our characters and side characters, and why we don't see more clever writing in other games in the industry.
I don't see more clever games in writing. You know why we don't? As you can tell.
Make it difficult for you guys. Is there anything you have to sacrifice to, make the writing so strong?
It's just definitely, it takes a lot of time. I mean, I spent just a lot of late nights writing, Brutal Legend had 35,000 lines of dialogue in it, and just a lot of time crunching to get that done. So the only thing you have to sacrifice is your life, your free time, and but otherwise I feel like it doesn't really hurt the gameplay. It always strengthens it, and as long as you edit it down to be what you need, makes each word count. I think it just helps.
Thank you.
I'll try to be quick. My question was, now that you're coming back to adventure games after so long, what's the biggest difference for you, or what's changed making an adventure game now as compared to so many years prior?
I'm still making them in the same way I made them before, because I'm approaching it mentally myself the same way. It's strange to come back to and realize just how much work adventure games are, because every single thing in it is a special case. After working, on Psychonauts, where things are, it's still an adventure game, but there's still there's systems. Like once you use, when you punch a base and it explodes, you use that over and over and over again all over the game, right? But in adventure games, every single base is a different reaction, and it's hand coded by somebody. The dialogue is special to that base, and you don't reuse stuff. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. We stopped making these things, they're too hard. But we're figuring out ways to.
Thank you.
Hey Tim.
Hey.
I'm just curious, was Middle Manager of Justice a success for you? And if it was, are you using that model in the future to possibly produce other games, and specifically more stuff on iOS?
Middle Manager of Justice was a success. That is, I think, a really great game, and I love the stuff that Key and Mark did on that, and all the other guys. It's an interesting model because it's free to play, and we wanted to have an experiment in free to play. It doesn't make the same kind of money as League of Legends makes, right? Close, no. But it's a tough model because we have to figure out a way, if you're doing that, where you're not, there's really negative ways to do free-to-play, where it's just people just annoy people, and people are like, I don't want to, like Farmville, don't want to do, you don't want to have something that feels like that coming from us, but you also want to not lose money on games doing it. So it was an interesting experiment, and I think we'll definitely, we'll try something like that again, for sure. But we're definitely to stay in the mobile market. We're going to do more mobile games, and even the Dolphin Adventure is going to be on mobile and Android and iOS. So yeah, more of that in the future.
Thank you. Okay, so Tim, has there ever been?
I had to read my tweet from Chris Reno.
So has there ever been like an idea that you had that for a game that you just couldn't figure out how to make it compelling? Like you just had an idea that you just couldn't work into a game, or you didn't think you could do?
Yeah, I have these weird. I don't even know how to put words to them though. Like sometimes just weird, like a little daydreams stick in your head. Like, I don't want to say what they are because you guys will totally steal them. There's been some that for like 10 years just thinking about certain objects moving around certain ways in my head. I'm like, I feel like that's a game, but I can't figure out how to make that fun at all. You know, so just, I feel like, okay, that'll just have to stay in my head for like another 15 years. Eventually it'll come out. But yeah, it definitely happens for sure.
Thanks.
You are the last one.
Yes, I am. I got into your entire series of Brutal Legend, thankfully. I had played Psychonauts beforehand, I've always wanted to, but Brutal Legend is really what got me into the Schaefer universe, the Double Fine productions, everything. And I want to say first off, congratulations on getting the rights finally for the PC version, getting released. It looks amazing.
Awesome, thanks.
But the actual question I had in mind was, half the panel answered this already, but what was the, for all of you guys, if you could pick one Double Fine game to say, oh, this is my favorite, or this is the one I could not play, what would it be?
One Double Fine game that we could not play, our favorite Double Fine game?
Sorry, what Double Fine game would you classify, if you had to pick one, would be your favorite or one that you would pick over any other?
Am I starting again?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say Psychonauts, but I feel like a lot of people can say that. So my runner-up is Skyrim. It's my number 2. Yeah.
That's always been an impossible question for me. People say, like, what's your favorite game you've always made? And someone, I think last time we had a panel, someone asked which game you're most proud of. And it's always hard because they're all special and they all are different. But the weird thing is, lately I've realized in some ways, it might be surprising, but the game in some ways I'm most proud of is actually Connect Party. And it might sound strange because it's so different than all our other games, but if you haven't played it, it's an amazing game. And the thing that makes me proud about it is that if you've ever actually watched like people playing that game, or like if you bring it up at Thanksgiving and your whole family's there, and you see like your grandma playing a game with a 2-year-old and the family dog is playing it, it's like crazy. Like I've never seen anything I've made actually make a big group of people happy like that in that direct way, and like watching them. So I'm actually the most proud of that achievement, you know, as far as our company goes. It's very inclusive. I'm proud of how inclusive that game is and how we've had everybody play.
I always like platformers, so I'm a big fan of Psychonauts. Just, if you go back and you play that game now, it still feels progressive, it still feels fresh. Like, it's kind of sad that the platform market kind of, I feel like it was driving up around that point in time, and there really hadn't been any progress after that. So I
guess we nailed it. Those are done now, we did it.
I would also have to probably, if I had to only pick one, I would probably also say Psychonauts. I think that game is great. Although, I want to do quickly out on the Connect Party thing, because that's awesome, what Tim just said. And one of the most amazing things about being at PAX is seeing like these little tiny kids come up to their booth, like on their parents' shoulders or whatever, and say what their favorite Connect Party activity is. That's like the most amazing thing to experience. It's really, really cool. So that's great. I think also Costume Quest is awesome.
My Queen of Tears is a shame to you, but thank you all.
Thanks.
I was goodbye?
Are we saying goodbye now? Is that, I don't know.
No, I think we're occupying this room. I thought that was the plan, to change it.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for coming and for asking questions. We're doing a signing at 1 at our booth. And thanks for backing once again.